This is Nettie Rapture. Yeah, welcome to my Q&A. Right, the first question I'm actually going to start with is actually one of the last ones I got, but I think it's kind of a really important question, and it's something that a lot of us wrestling fans do get asked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with that. Why do you like wrestling even though they don't get hurt and they are all friends outside of the ring? Not trolling, just curious. Okay. I suppose the easiest way to explain it is that at the end of the day, it's a TV show. Most TV shows aren't real. They're just characters, storylines, bad guys, good guys. It's all part of what makes a TV show fun to watch. For me, wrestlers are sort of a mix between stuntmen and actors, because when the stunts they do go wrong, they do get genuinely injured. Anything from like little sprains to serious injuries, and in a couple of really sad cases, even death, which I'm sure anyone can understand adds a sense of real risk to what you're watching. But when they are good, like any really good TV series, they can make you forget that it's a story. They can make you cheer for the guys you like, angry when the story doesn't go the way you want it to, sad when a character you've been watching for a long time leaves, and frustrated when changes are made to bring in a new generation of fans. We love it. We are fans at the end of the day, and the same as fandom for any TV show. We react because it's something we love and it's something we really enjoy. That question was from GnomeMaster456. Okay. I hope that answered your question. Number 2. What are my top 5 finishers in wrestling? WWE, TNA, or ROH? Sorry, frog in my throat. Okay, all time? It's actually loads harder. Canadian Destroyer, P.T. Williams. I've always, every time I watch that, I catch myself going, it's just a mad looking move. Kevin Steen from ROH's Package Pile Driver has much the same effect. The Stone Cold Stunner, mainly because you can hit it from anywhere. I kind of put the RKO in with that because they're very, very similar, but those stunner type moves as finishers always get me. Jomo's Starship Pain, I think, is very, very pretty to look at, especially when he hits it just right, and then it's really nice looking. And HBK Super Kick, because I fell in love with HBK at a very young age, and I think it will always have a place in my heart. What do I think of drug testing in WWE? And drug testing in wrestling in general. I think when it's enforced, it's a very good thing because it does help look after the health of the guys. I don't think it's enforced enough, though. I think it tends to be enforced in when it suits them to enforce it, if that makes sense. Those 2 questions were from mimogondek. She says, hoping she didn't completely mess up saying that name. Next question was, will I ever come to the States to see ROH? If you pay for my flight, I would absolutely love to. Unfortunately, you are talking, in a practical sense, you are talking sort of the best part of $1,000 for me to get to the States to watch a show, unless it was actually in Orlando, and even then it's a bit of a nightmare, because obviously 9-hour plane flight to go and watch a show is a hell of a lot. That was from Human Killer 99. My next question is, would you like to bring back the cruiserweight division? If so, who would you put in it, and would you allow them to go after the heavyweight titles? I genuinely love the cruiserweights. I actually really adored the original X Division No Limit High Flyers concept. I would love to do that on a SmackDown, after they've united the IC and the US title, and use it as the secondary belt on SmackDown. But if I was going to do it, I would have to make it a majorly desired belt that would at some point lead to the world title, because I think the cruiserweights are the future of wrestling, because especially with the drugs issue, we're getting more and more enforced. Little guys are getting more and more lifted into the higher ranks of the wrestling world. That was from PW3 Count. Okay, my next set. Do you think the Divas division in WWE can finally pick up from now on? The current Divas champion is the fantastic Natalya. Agreed. Will she now feud with Melina, who is also a good worker? And is there any hope for the Divas? I actually genuinely enjoy Beth Phoenix, Natalya, Gal Kim, Melina. That's about it. I think they are good, but I genuinely don't think the Divas will ever be more than a joke until their matches are actually given time and they're given the credibility from the commentators. I will say that Matt Striker is actually better with that than Jerry the King Lawler on Raw, because he actually does comment on the match as it's happening, and he actually does give attention to it. I think a lot of the problem with the Divas is it's so ingrained in our heads as a piss break, because it's treated that way. It's treated as a joke. It's treated as not being important. If it was given the feel of importance from the commentators, I think it would make such a massive difference to how we look at them. Number 2, do you have any crushes on men or women that other people around you find weird and not attractive at all? I always had a crush on Bryan Danielson, and everyone thinks it's the weirdest thing ever. Probably my weirdest crush in wrestling would be Chris Daniels. I can't really explain it, but him in the Fallen Angel persona, I find bizarrely hot. Like I said, I can't explain it, but I do think there is something amazingly sexy about that guy. That one was from PedroPedroSoCalimero. She says, hoping she's not completely screwing up the names. Okay. Next one. This one says, hello, I've been watching your videos for a long time, and I think you're cool, nutty chick. Lol. What was your reaction to The Miz winning the WWE Championship, and what was your reaction when JMO won the #1 contenders match at TLC? Who do you think will win out of The Miz and Morrison at the Royal Rumble? I was genuinely screaming and marking out when The Miz cashed in, and all the way through the John Morrison match, I was cheering for him at every single step. I think The Miz will probably win. I think it makes more sense for The Miz to retain. But I would really, truly love it if JMO won. because he definitely has a big place in my heart. Both you and Jeff Meacham have edge bears. Who's next? Extreme Dave? ? My edge bear, if you can see him. I don't know which side of my head he's behind. I actually got him as a free gift when I bought one of the official pay-per-view streams from WWE. So I very much doubt Extreme Dave will get one unless he decides to spend stupid amounts of money on an official WWE pay-per-view stream. Which... But yeah, that's where he came from. He was free to a good home. I very much adore him. That was from WWE Killer. Okay, next. Which WrestleMania match up between Undertaker and HBK was better in your opinion? 25 or 26? Okay. The way I would put it is they are equal for the basic reason. My head will say 25 every time, but my heart will scream 26. 25, if you take away the emotion factor, is definitely the better on paper match. But the emotion factor and the level of build-up and the atmosphere of 26 was so powerful that I think it really truly does make them equal. Second question, the Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler match tied with Undertaker versus HBK in WWE's top 25 matches of 2010. What are your thoughts on this? On which match do you think is the better one out of the two, really? Okay, I don't think you can put Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler in the same class as The Undertaker and HBK. As if you separate them into separate categories, then maybe Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler would be high on the list of best matches of younger stars. But Undertaker and HBK are legends, and it is a legends match, and I don't think you can truly compare a legends match that has been building up for 2 decades to a very new feud. I just don't think they are comparable. Those were from the Dalyxman. Blasters Cotton Socks. That's the amazing guy who made my intro. Superb. 2 thumbs up. Right. What do you think about the face heel system in general? Is it overall a good thing, or do you think it needs to be changed in some way? I think it has changed. I think it's changed over time. I think the original pure babyface versus ultra evil heel is virtually irrelevant now. I think the basic good guy versus bad guy still works, but a lot of my favourite wrestlers are what you would class as tweeners. They're sort of bad guys gone good, or that kind of guys who do bad things for the right reasons type characters are probably my favourite. And just generally guys who just go in there and kick ass no matter who it is. I've always found those characters a lot more attractive than pure babyfaces or pure evil heels. I think certainly now they do more rounded, more dumbed down baby faces. I think the baby faces are far more sort of, I'm a good guy, but they're less sort of, I fight for what's right sort of thing, because of the lessening of gimmick, and the evil heels aren't quite the same sort of evil heel. They tend to be either the intelligent intelligent, overly cocky, or cowardly. They don't tend to do the true evil heel anymore. I think probably because whenever they try and do really evil heels, they end up being tweeners because people love them too much. That was from crakhoBITCH, who is really cool, actually. She mentioned in one of my other videos that she was thinking about starting doing YouTube videos. Get them going, girl. Would love to hear you talk. Hey, what's up? My question to you is, as long as you've been a wrestling fan, which period/era of wrestling is your all-time favourite? I think the only way I can answer that is to say the early 90s. Not because it was necessarily the best from a clinical look-back standpoint, but because it was when I started watching, and it was when I fell in love with pro wrestling. So I don't think, in my heart of hearts, anything will ever replace sort of watching very young HBK, very young Bret Hart, Warrior, Undertaker, Legion of Doom, Money Inc., and all of that. I don't, natural disasters. That era, for me, is the era I fell in love with pro wrestling. So I just, as much as I loved the Attitude Era, the early 90s will always have a special place in my heart. That's from mfon30. If you were Dixie Carter, what would you do to turn TNA around into some real competition for WWE? Okay. I think pretty much everyone will give you the same answer to that. I would make the older guys managers and keep them backstage only. Use them to put the younger guys over in promos backstage. Don't want them anywhere near the ring. It's my personal opinion. I would revamp the X title and the X Division title and reboost the women's division, because they were the things that made TNA interesting, made TNA different, and made it really good fun to watch. What did I think of... This is one of those questions where I read it and just went, I could throttle you. What did you think of WWE 2010 pay-per-view wise? I actually genuinely looked at this question and went, oh god, I'm going to have to go through and find a webpage with all of the pay-per-views, all of the pay-per-view matches, and all of the pay-per-view results. And I spent like 5 minutes looking for it, and then I suddenly stopped and went, well, is that not the answer? The fact that I couldn't remember over 3/4 of the pay-per-views off the top of my head. I couldn't remember the matches from them. And I think that very much sums up the year, pay-per-view wise. I don't think any of them were particularly bad. I mean, I admit I didn't like Over the Limit. That's the one that sticks in my head, was Over the Limit as being bad. Enjoyed WrestleMania. Enjoyed Money in the Bank. Actually quite liked Fatal 4-Way, which I know a lot of people did put down. But otherwise, they were very forgettable. They weren't bad. They were average or just above average. But they didn't have anything that grabbed you and made you remember them. Favourite storyline of all time? Matt Lita and Edge. People are going to say, really? But yeah, totally, because it was real. It was 100% real situation that they turned into a storyline. And it was very, the heat between them was genuine, made it that much more intense. And there are a couple of promos when Matt's talking to Lita, and anyone who's ever lost someone they care about, you can hear it in his voice that it's not just a story. He genuinely was very much in love with her when she left him for Edge. and it was... I think everyone who's been there really appreciated that storyline. I think in the end it was very harsh on Lita, and I don't think she probably, as much as she made what wasn't the ideal choice, she fell in love with someone else, and she couldn't be with the person she was with, and she probably should have left it a couple of months and then got together with Edge, but unfortunately Matt found out and the whole thing blew up. I actually kind of feel bad that of the amount of horrendous hate she got even a year later. I thought that was kind of cruel. But it was an amazing storyline because it was real. My favourite wrestler from the Attitude Era, Stone Cold. Who else, man? Yeah, I was a massive Stone Cold mark. At the time, nobody else existed in the Attitude Era for me in a big way. I was very, very much a Stone Cold Steve Austin mark. Those questions were from I Am McLovin 155. Okie dokie. Next we have, do you think WWE should end the brand extension and why? I don't think they need to do it yet. I do think they need to balance out the I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that was sneezing. I apologise. They need to balance out the two brands slightly more. I do think having the two separate brands does give you more room to bring in and bring up new talent and move them across as they progress, so you can bring them up properly. I think the problem of making it a single brand is I think that would slam up the glass ceiling again, and it would make the mobility within the brand become very stagnant very quickly. Who are your top 5 most underrated wrestlers of all time? Mr. Perfect, $1 Million Man, Jake the Snake, Owen Hart, Roddy Piper, and to be honest, at the moment, Cavall is really underrated in the WWE. Obviously not by the internet fans, but actually by the company. Those questions were from JackPinel. Pinel? Something like that. 2 seconds, I'm just going to check the time. Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to cut it there because, and the rest of the questions will be on our second video, because otherwise it's going to be like 2 20-minute videos. Oh well. Okay, I will be back for part 2.